Good afternoon, faithful. Here we are celebrating a win after the 49ers beat the Panthers in Carolina to start a two-game road trip. Absolutely what needed to happen to keep the positive momentum the 49ers had after last week. Looking at the offense, things are looking to be coming on track a little bit. It doesn't look quite as disjointed. Still early on in this one, some mistakes, inability to stay on the field, inability to put the game away early. But in this one, it didn't matter. The 49ers outmatched the Panthers. The concern here for me is absolutely the mounting injuries for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm taking some solace in the fact that most don't appear to be super serious. Obviously, we have the players that were out already prior to this one. Jimmy Ward coming back in, and then he's out. Looks like injuring a hand, but he's in street clothes after halftime. So that's an indication that it was immediately known he couldn't come back in. Looking at Bosa, I'm encouraged by the fact that he never left the sideline, that he was visibly irritated, but not distraught. I'm hoping this is on the shorter end of the groin injury and that he only misses a little bit of time. Obviously, a more serious groin injury for his brother, Joey Bosa, who's going to miss 8 to 10 weeks. He's requiring surgery. Hopefully, that's not the case for Nick Bosa. And Robbie Gould, a very, very critical injury, especially with a team that is going to have a lot of close games like the 49ers are with this defense. And then at the end, Emmanuel Mosley, again, taking solace in the fact that he came back to the bench area, did not go back to the locker room that I saw towards the end of the game, but a very concerning injury. Thankfully, Jason Verrett appears to be ready to come off of the IR list. That's perfect timing. Again, with E-Man, hoping it's a sprain of some sort and nothing that keeps him out long term. If these are all injuries that players can come back from in season, I'm less concerned, but they certainly are mounting. We have super chats coming in. Kevin, Sneakerhead, here on the channel says, Rob, you're all about positivity. Here it is. Chat is going lit. Good luck keeping up, bud. I know the chat is popping off. I haven't even said hello to everyone that's here in the chat. I appreciate it. Liking 4647 with the super chat. I got to give Jimmy G credit. The last 2 weeks, he has been very efficient and is actually pushing the ball downfield. With this defense, they are sure Super Bowl contenders. How about that? Pushing the ball down the field, throwing up a couple of 50-50 balls. The one to Ayuk definitely should have been a completion. Jimmy's not lighting the world on fire, but this version of Jimmy, if it continues on like this and he remains very efficient, could be the recipe for this team. Exactly what Lycan is saying here, being legitimate type of Super Bowl contenders. Again, I always viewed us as Super Bowl contenders this year, counting on the fact that Trey Lance would progress throughout the season. If Jimmy can be his more efficient self, that also bodes well for being that super contender. All right, Raphael 562 Niners coming in with the super chat. Niners are in first place. Let's see if the games are final. Yes, Cowboys 22, Rams 10, Eagles 20, Cardinals 17. Let's see one more. Saints 39, Seahawks 32. And oh, by the way, 49ers 37, Panthers 15. Guess who's sitting alone in first place of the NFC West? Yes, your San Francisco 49ers. That's what we're doing. First place, baby. Feels good. All right, CT Law, Sneakerhead here on the channel coming in with the super chat. First place once again. Jimmy looked light years better this week. You are what your record says you are. Bill Parcells said that, and now everyone's saying Jimmy is the real deal. I take it. Again, efficiency is the name of the game. When you have a good run game and Jeff Wilson Jr. busting through 100 yards, he was the last 49er running back to do so tail end of last season. Now he busts 100 yards in this game. Needed it. Needed to get the run game going to try and keep the defense off of the field as much as possible. Got to say hello to everyone that's here. Appreciate all of the energy. Lorenzo Gonzalez, Raphael 562 Niners, Texas Niner, Chris Renshaw, Starco Fan 212, Nick Swanson, Fish, Jan coming in. We have got a full chat and the energy is lit. Again, if you've got those comments that are directed at me, do me a favor, since it is a robust comment section right now, and hit the @Rob or @Rob Schuh with those comments. Unless, of course, it's a super chat. You know I'm going to see that. And if you're watching right now, smash that like button. All right, I have to give a special shout out. I hope that I don't see him in the chat just yet, but I hope he sees it. Sean 951 Niners, man. I got to give a shout out to Sean and to his wife, Christy. In the mail the other day, this wonderful contraption arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a customized tumbler mug. Left shoe on there. Christy made this amazing in a mirror copy of my mug, but the piece de resistance, see if you can see this on the base. I got to get down to the bottom of the mug. There's a Candlestick Park logo on the base of it. When I get down to the bottom, you will be able to see that on the base. It is fire. Absolutely agree with Raphael 562 Niners. Fire freaking gift, Texas Niner. It is awesome. I got to say thank you to Sean 951 Niners and his wife, Christy. Just phenomenal. She does Christy's cups. I can't speak highly enough of it. Really enjoy it. Okay, so let's get into this thing, breaking down the game. Again, the defense, just elite, if you are asking me. I thought they were going to be from the beginning of this season, predicting top 3, predicting leading the league in sacks. I will say I was hoping that we would get a few more sacks in this one. It didn't quite work out how I thought, but hey, 6 on the day is freaking spectacular. I got to say, before looking at that, didn't realize the last couple on PJ Walker, they did add up. So I was hoping for a 6-7 sack day, ended up at 6 sacks. This defense is tracking. Jimmy Garoppolo, 18 of 30, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. Most importantly, no interceptions, and only took 2 sacks for 9 yards. And honestly, felt like he pushed the ball out on a couple of opportunities where he might have taken a sack. Instead, got the ball out of his hands, turned it into a positive, or at least not quite as much of a negative. Jeff Wilson Jr. getting the bulk of the carries, 17 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Tevin Coleman, 8 carries, 23 yards, a touchdown, and a touchdown receiving. 3 catches, 44 yards receiving for Tevin Coleman. Reemergence. He seems to have a good game when going up against the Carolina Panthers. Yes. Truth told, not sold, says Sean 951. Hook me up. I need to get one of those cups. Steve-O says, hey, man, most importantly, what is in it? After the game, to try and keep the voice fresh, nothing but water. Nothing but water. That's the way we roll around here. We got important things to do in covering the 49ers here. We can't get belligerent. We've got to be sensible in here. I am fired up about the win. Beast Mode Gaming Sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, nice win, but we've got a lot of injuries. Bosa, big loss. The post-game presser is going to be an important one today, where we hear our first news about how serious any of these injuries are. I mean, most likely you're going to have to wait until tomorrow to get definitive information about any x-rays or scans done of knees, in particular, Emmanuel Mosley. That's the one I'm most concerned about. Nick Bosa, yes, critical for him to be in there. I am interpreting his body language, the fact that he stayed on the field, as it being a more minor of the groin pulls. My hope there is maximum 3 to 4 weeks. I think that with the depth along the offensive line, we can sustain the loss of Bosa over the next 3 to 4 weeks, with the critical matchup being Kansas City when we return home. We go off to Atlanta next week. I will be there. I believe this defense, especially with the way the rest of the defensive line is playing, will be able to get it done. They'll be down 3 starters, though. Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw were already expected not to be in the game against Atlanta. I think it's fair to assume Nick Bosa probably will be rested in this one. Mullet coming in to say, as long as Jimmy doesn't turn the ball over, it is hard to beat us with this defense and that run game and this roster. I absolutely agree. Again, the injuries are the concerning part. I'm here with Joey Nichols on that. Very frustrating to be one of the most injured teams in the NFL. Very frustrating to play another game on artificial turf and watch the turf monster take down a couple more players. The NFL needs to do something about that in my book. It's unacceptable that we're still dealing with that. Just a dude, man. Sneakerhead here on the channel coming in. Rob, that is what you call an ass whooping. The league is officially on notice that we are not to be messed with. Bang, bang, Niner gang. I'm here for that, just a dude. We are a team that I don't think others want to come up against. This type of a defense, this type of a physical unit able to run through you, run over you. No defensive back wants to come up against Deebo Samuel. No linebacker wants to get blocked or manhandled by Juice or Kittle. This team is legit. Got to keep the health on track. Thankfully, it's a deep roster. All those guys stepping up just need to play at an average level. Joey Nichols, Rob, I said we have 2 to 3 major injuries every week. Looks like we outdid ourselves this one. Ward, Bosa, E-Man, and Gold. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that none of them are long-term injuries. That's going to be the biggest update we get after this matchup. The win is exciting. The 49ers sit alone in first place in the NFC West. The defense continues to show why they are one of the better units, if not the best units in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo appears to be knocking off the rust. Jeff Wilson Jr. is running strong. I'm seeing good things from Deebo Samuel. The drops are a bit of a concern. Brandon Ayuk looking good. George Kittle getting involved in the game yet again. George Kittle coming out of this one with 5 catches for 47 yards. It felt as if we were getting him intentionally involved. We were asking for that this week. Jawan Jennings continues to play like a grown-ass man. That's what I have to say about Jawan Jennings. So exciting to frickin' watch. Just the way he stiff arms guys, the way he gets open in space. He may not be the fastest, but he has the ability to get open and make clutch plays. Do me that favor. If you're watching now, hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Joey Mellon, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, at least everyone was able to walk off the field. This is the point, that most likely most of these injuries, if not all, will be shorter injuries because no one was sent back immediately to the locker room. It's not a guarantee. They may feel good out on the field, may have a high pain tolerance, and the doctors may misdiagnose. But the idea of not going back for x-rays or imaging right away, I see as a positive one. Typically, those serious injuries are led back to the locker room, into the training room. Harold, we don't know yet. Is Gold good or not? It is questionable. He seemed to be trying to plant on that left leg. It was his left knee, not his kicking knee, but that's the plant foot. He attempted to go, but it didn't look like he could. Mullet coming in. Rob, don't you think Wisnowski should be practicing field goals too, just in case? He should. He doesn't seem to be very proficient at it. He struggles with the kickoffs a little bit too. Clearly, punting is his forte. He was late to the game. I believe he didn't start trying to become a kicker until later in life, mid-20s. So he hasn't had the opportunity to perfect kicking in the same way that someone who's been doing it with American football all of their life. Robert Pacheco coming in. Rob Schuh, I called the pick by E-Man. Hope he's okay. Let's go Niners. Hope for a speedy recovery. Amen to that. Speedy recovery from all of the injured players is critical. Joey Nichols, defense was good. Gave up some stuff after Bosa went out, which underlies how important he is, obviously. This team, we had them held to under 300 yards until garbage time. The final there, let's see what the final yardage was by the San Francisco 49ers defense. Just gave up over 308 yards for the Panthers. Again, that defense just looking good. Held them to 4.7 yards per play. Again, we were coming in at 3.8, so not keeping up that historic pace. You take out some of the garbage yards, and it had been a little bit closer to that. But again, Carolina was able to move the ball today. The 49ers did make some mistakes. Early on in this one, it looked like Carolina could stay in it. We were leading the game as far as physicality, yardage, everything, but still a couple of key mistakes, inability to punch it into the end zone, and it left Carolina within reach throughout the first half. Then we were able to seal this one down. Josh Cook coming in. Rob Schuh, so happy for the win. Bang, bang, Niner gang. A little worried about the injuries. That makes 2 of us. Hound 594, Rob Schuh. It's so annoying how Gold got injured. Can we not stop a kickoff return? It is annoying because it was the kickoff return coverage unit that failed and allowed Gold to be the last line of defense. You don't want a dude as old as Robbie Gould. You don't want any kicker as your primary tackler on that play, let alone Robbie Gould at the tail end of his freaking career. Jason Walsh, Coleman, 2 looked good. Yes, he did. A resurgence of Tevin Coleman. A little bit of 2019 vibes. Zolksy Williams coming in, Rob. Number 1 blocking wide receivers core in the league. Them's the facts. Devin Euros coming in. Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, I think they just left Bosa out because we didn't need him and no reason to cause an injury that keeps him out long term. Let's hope. If we get Bosa back by next week against Atlanta, I will be ecstatic for that. Truth told, not sold. Rob, should we be worried about special teams? We should be worried about our field goal unit, our extra point unit, so long as Robbie Gould is dealing with anything. And yes, the kickoff return coverage unit is the one that I'm concerned about. It at times has looked good. The punt return unit, punt coverage unit has looked strong to me, but it's tough. It's tough to say. You got to give him some time. Alan Elizer, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob Schuh, I love your show. Debo, that like button. Alan doing the good deed, imploring the people to hit that like button like Debo hits the hole. You know Debo hits it hard, so you got to hit that like button hard as well. Truth told, not sold. Coming in, Rob, 2 blocks the last few weeks and bag coverage on kickoffs. It's been painful to watch. I'd like to give Brian Schneider the benefit of the doubt to get things remedied before labeling this special teams unit as a problematic one. I've seen some positive things from this unit at times, and as you point out, astutely, some struggles. The Stivers Niners 209 show. Rob, go Niners. We got the win, Rob. I am not feeling good. I hope that it's just because of a little bit of worry about the injury and we get some good news that alleviates that. If it's anything physical, man, I hope you get better. Epic Wolf coming in. Rob, how easy is it to pick up a kicker during a week? Not easy. Most of those that are out there are reasonably inconsistent. There's a reason they're available in season. Now, there'll be a suitable kicker that could fill in for a couple of weeks, but if it's anything extended, that is a concern. Joe Bitto, totally agree. Defense, so nasty. Loving it. Joey Nichols, I'm with you on this. That Jennings broken tackle for the first down was big. Great individual effort there. Couple of individual effort plays by Jawan Jennings. He rounds out the combination of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and that receiving core so nicely. Good to see a toss deep to Danny Gray. Coverage was there. J.C. Horn was all over him. But you put the ball up and you give him a chance, man. That is encouraging to see. Harold coming in saying, what happened to Bosa? I think the turf probably happened to Bosa. Probably stuck a foot in the ground. Something went awkward, and he pulled a groin muscle. So it's a groin injury for Bosa. Devin coming in here, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, our kickoff coverage got Gold hurt. He saved 2 possible returns for touchdowns. It is brutal to watch him have to make that tackle. Raphael 5629er, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, the O-line played good today. They did, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo relatively clean, just 2 sacks. He did take several big hits. Jimmy seems to wake up when he takes those hits. He's talked about it in the past, being okay with taking that shot in a game, saying, hey, sometimes it'll snap you out of it and bring your focus to the moment. That physicality brings you into the game. JT Hester says, Rob, how you feeling about Ray? He drops a ball more often than not. JT Hester, I said this last week and the week before. My heart is in my throat with Ray. Nothing against the guy. I do think he's an explosive player, clearly an explosive runner, and not the surest hands. They don't give me a sense of calm at all. Gotta celebrate Josh Cook here, newest member of the Sneakerhead crew. Josh Cook, welcome in. Yes. Alan Elizer also extending the invitation. Welcome to Rob's channel, Josh. Yes, the newest Sneakerhead here, bringing it in. Josh Cook Very, very excited about that. All right, Beast Mode Gaming, another sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, I'm worried about next game. I hope we break the curse. LOL. I will be there, and I'm making sure I'll be there in Atlanta. Randon and I will be there together, man. First time Randon and I are hanging out. You know Randon, between two beards. We are definitely going to be doing a show from Atlanta. Very excited about that. It sets up to be a game that's very winnable for the 49ers. Oh, no. Michael Salazar says, the post-game presser, Rob, Kyle said they fear for an ACL with E-Man. It looked bad when he was down on the field. That's just brutal. This is a contract year for Emmanuel Mosley. He was set up having a phenomenal start to the season on a defense that would have allowed him to continue being spectacular throughout the year. If it is, in fact, an ACL, that's just terrible. You feel for the guy. You feel for his family. You feel for what he's got to go through. And you hope that maybe it gives him an opportunity to stay with the organization for another year and have a good season next and potentially earn himself a larger contract after that, because he has put on tape what he can do when healthy. And if he can put together a solid season right before a contract year, he'll be rewarded for that. It's just tough to see someone, if it is an ACL injury, nothing has been confirmed as of yet, but if it does, in fact, turn out to be a season-ending injury, it's just brutal news for Emmanuel Mosley, who has struggled through some things in his career, shine extremely brightly at times, and would argue that that was true again today. Had the pick six, was a phenomenal play. And, you know, I saw a criticism. David Lombardi of The Athletic criticized Shanahan for not going for it on fourth down prior to the punt that led to the series wherein E-Man got hurt. It was late in the game. You clearly have to have your starters out there because you're only up by 15 at that point. There's, 5-6 minutes left to go in the game. Enough time to drive down, get a 2-point conversion, and be within 7. So you cannot rest all your starters at that point. To David's criticism, you could have gone for it on fourth down, but if you go for it on fourth down and someone along the offense gets hurt, you may have similar criticisms of like, why didn't you just punt it there and play prevent defense? So this is the NFL. The injuries happen, but it's so frustrating that they continue to happen to us. The 49ers have been bit by that injury bug, and it just doesn't seem to go away. It's a recurring issue for the 49ers, and it's a sad one because you watch players struggle through it, and it takes away the shine from a win like this. I'm still very excited for the win, very happy to be in first place in the NFC West, ecstatic to be 3-2, going on to Atlanta with a chance to make it 4-2, and these injuries hurt. Epic Wolf coming in, Rob. It's a great football weekend when every NFC West team loses besides the Niners. That does pick me up a little bit. Yes, it does. Just a dude, man. Sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, with our depth and physical play on both sides makes us a menace in the playoffs. No one wants the smoke in the tourney. Let's go. Just got to get there, and I agree. We will be one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs. Keep that health going in the right direction and not in this negative direction, and get there. Starco Fan 212, Rob, only team in the NFC West that is not tied 3-2. Everyone else is 2-3. Everyone else is 2-3, and we are in first place alone. Hound 594. Rob Schuh, you should do a show with Ronbo. I should. I love collabs. Mullet says Rombo doesn't collab with anybody. Then I won't do a show with Rombo if he doesn't collab with people. But I love collabing with anybody and always will. Mr. Cartier 7, I'm with you on this. Cheers to this comment. Please let E-Man come back. You know, the fear is the ACL, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. Positive thoughts out there, positive vibes. This one's for E-Man. Man, hope he comes out. Treasure Kiss is coming in to say hello. Kurt Papatakis coming in. Sneakerhead here on the channel. Atlanta made it interesting, but came up short, thinking they may be deflated and psyched out. I sure hope so. All right, we've got a super chat coming in. Jaguayo56, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, what in the name of all that is holy is going on? Jimmy G threw for 253, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. O-line and D-line played well. Shanny called a great game. First place. I like the positivity. Let's set aside the injuries right now. Let's hope that none of them are too severe and that when they are, we've got the next man up mentality. You know, I'm going to put it here. Jason Verrett, thank goodness for having that man on the team. This is going to be the next man up. These are Jason Verrett's game-worn cleats from that epic 2020 season. Let's hope he gets back to that form. Let's hope that he relives that 2020 form. Jason Verrett coming back in to fill in where hopefully it's a shorter term injury, but if not, man, what a critical signing by the 49ers. But this is a time for celebration. This is absolutely when we talk about, hey, Niners are killing it. Raphael 562 saying David Lombardi has reported Jimmy Ward broke his hand. That explains why he was in street clothes at the second half. Must have gotten an x-ray at halftime, saw the broken hand. It'll be a question mark as to whether he plays through that. Certainly you can typically put a club on a broken hand and play through it. With Tayshaun Gibson playing very well, it could be that they rest Jimmy Ward in the hopes of getting him completely healthy, not sustaining any other injuries. More news to keep your eye on. Josh Cook agreed. Newest sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob Schuh, prayers up for E-Man. He is one hell of a ball player. Godspeed, sir. Amen to that. Jay Cruz, 24. Rob, great win, but I hate to temper it down a bit, but I have to. It was 10-3 with a few minutes to go in the first half. Pick 6 was huge. It's just one win against maybe the worst team in the league. Absolutely true. You got to take every win. This is the NFL. Parity is real. The best team in the league and the worst team in the league, the amount of talent separating the two isn't as much as you would think. It really isn't. Once a team falls down, the motivation slips a little bit. Coach's job is on the line. Maybe you're not doing everything that's asked for you. Maybe every player starts to look out for themselves, making some business decisions, and a team then snowballs downhill. So when you are the worst team in the league, it can be reflected in the level of play on the field not being super high. But everybody's spending a ridiculous amount of money on ridiculously talented players. Everyone has stars. And so that parity is closer. I won't discount the Carolina Panthers as not being worthy of a win, but I hear exactly what you're saying here. This was my sentiment early. We were dominating this game, and yet we're only up 10-3 when we had that pick 6. At any point, had Baker Mayfield stopped playing like a guy who just doesn't seem like he deserves a starting role right now, the Panthers could have gotten back into this one. The defense kept them out, put us up by that pick 6, and finally, the offense was able to get the ball into the end zone. But again, we were getting the yards. It was a common theme. Offense moving the ball, but some mistakes, stops and starts, not being able to capitalize on drives and get points in the end zone. That is not going to work against a team like Kansas City. We are coming up against some tougher matchups. Going back up against the Rams, they are not going to be fooled. Not that they were fooled. The Rams are going to be tough in the second game coming up in a few weeks. But we can't look past Atlanta. That's a trap game if I've ever seen one, especially with the trend of winning 3 back-to-back road trips the last 3 years. The pressure's on to win 2 in a row. Let's do it. Treasure kisses, Rob. I have not been feeling well lately, but very happy about the win today. Glad to hear that you're feeling better because of the win. Sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. Kurt coming in, sneakerhead here on the channel. The NFC is weak, Rob. We may be the best team. We may be the best team in the league. I mean, Buffalo is pretty freaking legit, if I'm going to say so myself. Michael Salazar coming in. Rob, this offense is going to have to live around 25 points per game to help the defense with their injuries. It's true. Now that you have most likely Bosa out, Armstead out, Javon Kinlaw out, Azeez Al-Shire out, Emmanuel Mosley out, Jimmy Ward out. You're now down 6 of your starting 11 defenders. And I'm not all that worried about this defense. That's wild. That's wild. Down 6 starting defenders, most likely against Atlanta next week. And I would still heavily favor this defense to be dominant and to get after Atlanta. Alan Elizer, sneakerhead here on the channel coming in. Rob Schuh, I think we have to go through a gauntlet after Atlanta for a few weeks. Yes, the matchup following that, again, cannot overlook the Atlanta Falcons. They were in their game today and are still looking to get their act together. A win against a team like San Francisco would be a highlight for a team such as Atlanta. Can't overlook them. But after that, there is the 2-game gauntlet before the bye week. It is tough. Jason Walsh coming in. Thank God we have a pretty deep roster. That might help us big time. Everyone being involved, momentum, confidence as a whole, team confidence as a whole. Here's hoping. Anyway, yes, hoping indeed. And I do think that this team is strong enough. When you look at the game stats there, going into the box score, particularly the defenders, Dre Greenlaw all over the place with 11 tackles in this one. Fred Warner, 9 tackles, but 2 tackles for a loss and a sack and a pass defensed. I mean, the linebackers are flying all around the field. Diamador Lenore, 8 freaking tackles. Yeah, he may have let a couple of balls get completed on him, and he seemed to be in good position throughout. Was a stud in tackling, definitely contributing in run defense. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Diamador Lenore. Talanoa Hufanga just continuing to have the great stat lines and showing you with the eye test. You see him on the film, on the screen, consistently showing up, play in, play out. 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass defense, and 1 quarterback hit. Just in almost all the stat columns there, man. But what you hate to see is Robbie Gould, 2 tackles. Robbie Gould, 2 tackles. You do not want your freaking kicker on the stat sheet. I'll tell you what, though. Charlie Omenihu, Drake Jackson, racking up those sacks. I am here for it. You have Huff with a sack, Fred Warner with a sack, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles with a sack, half sack for Tayshaun Gibson, half sack for Oren Burks, Charlie Omenihu, Drake Jackson, everybody getting in on the 6-sack party. We've got a 6-pack, ladies and gentlemen. 6-pack of sacks. Frank coming in saying the war is long. In today's one battle, we lost a few warriors. Most will return. 12 more battles to go until the tournament. Next man up. That's the mentality. And the same for the guys that are now going to have to battle through the injury. They know the drill. This is a rough league. That's what they signed up for. I'm that guy, Kevin89. Rob, what do you think the 49ers record will be? Debo and Kittle wanted to get paid, and they are dropping and fumbling too much for my liking. Bosa, we need him. Tough teams coming up. Agreed on the criticism for Bosa and for, not for Bosa. The criticism for Kittle and for Debo. Both need a little bit more concentration in this one. The drops and the fumble feel like concentration issues. They're both obviously attempting to make plays, and you got to do more. Sean 951 Niners, first time I'm seeing in the comments, bang, bang, Niner gang. Sean, I was showing off this beauty earlier. Please pass along my thanks to Christy. Everybody was loving it. Go back and check the comments. You got at least 3 or 4 people that want to get their hands on one of these cups. I'm trying to get that Candlestick Park logo on the bottom to show up. Now I got water all over my mustache. It just happens. Joey Mellon, sneakerhead here on the channel, says, didn't expect Coleman to start today. Does this confirm that lack of trust between Kyle and newer running backs? Good win. Go Niners. It does. It clearly shows that Kyle Shanahan, unless forced to bring in one of his younger running backs because of injury, which is what happened when Elijah Mitchell got his chance last year, he has not established trust in the young running backs. Clearly, he trusts Tevin Coleman above and beyond Jordan Mason. And with what Tevin showed today, you can understand why he has some trust in him. Coleman was running hard, clearly had good hands, came down with an impressive catch along the sideline. I've got to say, I thought I'm not expecting Tevin Coleman to look like this week in, week out. But Tevin Coleman showed me why Kyle Shanahan does have that trust in him, why he may have turned it over to him instead of going to the younger player. 420 Savage, Coleman was a nice addition. Yes, he was. Critical addition that has helped this team. George coming in, Rob Schuh. It's my birthday today, 26, but my back feels 40. Glad the Niners got the big dub. Hey, cheers, George, to your birthday. Happy birthday on this one. 26 is a big one. You are 1 year past that quarter century mark. Telling you, on your way. This was a fantastic win. I'm thrilled about it. Had to keep this show short, so I appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate the enthusiasm. Do me that favor and hit the like button for me. Amp up the signal on this one. Let more and more people get to come in to this positive environment where we celebrate 49ers wins and the fact that our Niners are sitting in first place as expected. Hey, this is what we predicted from the beginning of the year, even when things looked like they were a little bit bumpy. Did we on this channel get dark about it? No, we were realistic. There were concerns. There are still concerns. The Panthers are a team that we were expected to beat. Atlanta is a team that we are expected to beat. You have to make those games. You have to win those games. You have to handle the teams that you're expected to. And when you do, that's cause for celebration. When your defense continues to show up week in and week out, that is dominance. It's what I'm seeing from San Francisco. This offense does appear to be getting back on track. I'm not ready to say that it's definitively there now and that they are going to be efficient week in, week out, that Jimmy Garoppolo is done throwing those Jimmy picks. Those will be there. We will have another bad game by Jimmy. But if this defense can regain some health and keep form, then I really do believe they can match up with everybody. I'm with Luke Walsh on this one. Says Rob Schuh, hoping Jason Verrett is ready. Haven't needed him more until this point. What a perfect signing by the San Francisco 49ers. The unfortunate news would be for E-Man if it was a serious injury. Not confirmed yet, but that is what's feared. And if that's the case, you just have to look at the timing of Verrett being healthy, it appearing that he was able to practice at least in a limited fashion, and it will be needed. It will absolutely be needed if E-Man is out. Raphael 5629er Sneakerhead here on the channel says like and subscribe, everybody. Yes, please do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, you're all welcome to be members of the Sneakerhead crew. Thomas Luttrell, I'm with you. We had this reported earlier that it may be that ACL. I feel terrible for E-Man. Absolutely sick. Junior coming in. Rob, number one, baby. Sitting in first in the NFC West. That's what we have to take solace in right now. That's what E-Man is taking solace in. A win. He's happy for his teammates. I'm happy for this team. Michael Salazar says, Rob, some people were doubting the 49ers running backs. Now Wilson had a great game and 3 good games, and Coleman was big today, rushing and passing. I tell you, this defense across the board, the depth of the defensive line, the freaking linebacking core, and those defensive backs. Charvarius Ward, just incredible in coverage. So consistent, always with his hands fighting for the ball. It is something to watch. One of the best cornerbacks I have seen with the San Francisco 49ers since we had Deion Sanders. He has absolutely lived up to the hype to this point. Just hoping that opposite him, E-Man can continue to man that position. And if not, that Jason Verrett is ready to step in. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate the enthusiasm. Appreciate the positivity. I will be back on tomorrow on the channel. Until then, you know the drill. Cheers, faithful.